Good evening. If you would rise with me to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing just for a few minutes. First off, we've just been informed that Clara Kimbrough is on hospice. We're asking for prayers for her. We're also standing to remember those that have lost their lives in defense of our country, both abroad and here at home. In particular, those officers in Dallas and Baton Rouge. And I have asked our officers to come up to share that moment of silence with us. And also Kathy Kelly. We've also lost her this past week. So if you would, just a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you. I was on the call. This is not a happy place. All right. This is a workshop meeting. Before we begin, just so we can, for those that want to maybe head out, we have a special guest. We have a few special announcements. She's the granddaughter of our very own Buffalo Soldier. Actually, you can just sit right here. Actually, you
Okay.
stand or sit. Up to you.
Okay, sit down. Well, I'll stand up now that I sit down. Hi, everybody. Dr. Andrea Matthews. I just wanted to let the town know that the Buffalo Soldiers Association of West Point is glad to inform you that we will have our first annual Buffalo Soldiers Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, and Math Summer Camp Experience. And we have collaborated with Fort Montgomery and Highland Falls schools, West Point. We've also collaborated with a nonprofit organization called Community Arts Experience out of Ohio and in New York. And on the 22nd, we are bringing in 15 children from New York City, 10 children from Ohio, and we'll take 25 of our own middle school students, 10 to 14. This event is free. It is a one-day camp. The students will learn science, technology, engineering, art, and math. We'll be at West Point. They'll get the full tour. They'll get the full experience. They'll learn what they need to do to actually go to West Point or an Ivy League school and how to stay involved in science, technology, engineering, and art and math. We're doing this one-day camp experience because I have some potential donors who would be interested in sponsoring a solid week camp here in Highland Falls. This is a Highland Falls event that we are collaborating with West Point on. And so we will be in discussion, and we'd like to keep it, let the town know and keep you all involved. We plan to do one solid week for 100 kids annually here in town, where we would have them spend the night. They will eat, they will go through activities. We want to collaborate with the chamber and make sure that we have a full experience, and we hope to bring as many up to 300 children into the city, into the town yearly. We are excited about our collaboration. And then I also wanted to, so that's one, and that'll happen July 22nd. If your child is interested in attending this free camp and they live in the Fort Montgomery, Highland Falls area, please contact Erin Falk, or you can contact me, and my number is 214-549-7691.
Trouble.
Right. 214-549-7691. And that's my direct cell phone number, and we still have some slots available for students, and all they gotta do is bring a sack lunch. Everything else is paid for, everything is free. West Point has really been very gracious in their ability to share their resources. And then I'd like to announce that September 4th, we are bringing in Lieutenant General retired Mark Hertling to West Point, CNN military analyst. He will be here to help us actually raise and talk about the Buffalo Soldiers, the legacy of the Buffalo Soldiers, and we'll be having a wreath laying ceremony on West Point, and we will also have a banquet where he will be the honored guest speaker. We're asking citizens in Highland Falls to sponsor a student, a veteran, or an elderly person to attend this event. Mark Hurt, we want the students, and James I. O'Neill students have made it very clear that they want to be engaged with the Buffalo Soldiers Labor Day event, because they are called the Buffalo Soldiers Junior ROTC. We're very proud of them being able to get as many students into West Point. So we are hoping that students and actually residents of Highland Falls will actually attend this event. Tickets are $55. That is tax deductible. And we would like a showing. We want a sell-out packed house. We will be unveiling the preliminary design of the monument. We are really excited. West Point is actually, the process is going really, really well. We will launch on September 4th and actually start. We expect to have this monument with full donorship, full payment for the monument within 1 year after we launch. So we're talking about hopefully by the end of 2017, we will have an unveiling ceremony here, and you will be able to have a Buffalo Soldier monument on West Point. I have brochures for people, and again, if anybody would like to know more information, feel free to contact me. Any questions? And we'll be, the association will definitely wants to talk more. We've got a lot of potential donors that really like this actual setting, this rural setting right next to West Point, that are coming out of Texas. We just did a documentary on my grandfather too, so there's some, they want to do some filming, more filming here in Highland Falls, to talk about this small town life outside of the military academy and how they can increase science, technology, engineering, art, and math for youth all over the country. They all come here for our model program. So we're excited. So that's it.
This is not a 2-week endeavor. This is over 3 years they've been working on this to get us off the ground. Mainly with you as the head, pushing it forward. So know that this is not a small endeavor at all. And they've been looking at a lot of different things besides the monument, museum, this. They've been really pushing their way through. And the one thing that we had mentioned like 2 years ago, and not to derail any of the donors, but once the main monument is placed, we're obviously going to want a smaller version in Memorial Park in our own community, obviously.
Yes.
And I know we're there.
Yes, we are.
But you know what? I would like one more round of applause for the efforts.
My grandfather loves Highland Falls, and so anything that we can do, the associate, he's dedicated to making sure that the legacy and that we actually help Highland Falls, and the STEM camp is really huge. So we're really excited. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wastewater.
Month of June, average wastewater treated through the plant was 693 gallons a day, 2.4 inches of precipitation. Facility met all New York State DEC speed permit limitations. Elwood Lane pump stations, Havens Road facilities are checked regularly and operating properly. 8.79 tons of digested sludge processed through the belt filter press disposal by SpectraServe. In operation 7 days total. 40.5 cubic foot of grit screenings removed from disposal, removed for disposal by KM Enterprises. John Jones attended the department head meeting on June 7th. Repairs and maintenance, belt filter press, Phoenix process equipment technician on site 2 days, worked with operators Jones and Hurst, replacing 2 lower tracking barriers. Reworked, tracking, mounting foot and retract belts. Tested, back in service. Primary digester mixing system. Hunts Point motor installed, new impeller on pump 1. Tested, back in operation. Primary digester sludge recirculating pumps, Hunts Point Motors, remove pump 1 for a total rebuild, out of service. Secondary clarifier, East Path, out of service on June 14th due to broken chains and flights. I don't know what flights are, but they're broke. Installed the needed length of chain and 2 flights back in service on the 16th. Control and maintenance of building, DNK installed a new central air condenser for the system down there, which was in the budget.
Yeah.
Belt filter press replaced guide arm piston and upper belt control piston, maintenance and lubrication of pumps and motors and machinery as required. So that is for Monday.
Fire?
Fire. There were 9 alarms last month in June. This included 2 outdoor fires that were caused by fireworks and their packages being set off in public places late at night. Lieutenant Lynn Rush and firefighter Christy Pendergraft have completed emergency vehicle operations courses. And due to concerns and questions about parking and accessibility of fire apparatus, the fire company will conduct a survey of village streets late at night and will make recommendations based on that survey. The chief has provided the board members with a lot of information about a hazmat trailer that was part of a large grant that was received in 2005. He documents its early usage with decontamination and other forms of training. He goes on to say that there are now 2 hazardous materials response teams, one from Orange County and one based at West Point. And because of these new levels of training and special available forces, the hazardous material trailer has not been requested in several years. As it turns out, Fort Montgomery has an ATV that's very, very useful at certain types of calls. But getting the ATV to certain calls in the woods or what have you, for rapid response, this trailer could be employed that way. And the chief has been checking with, I believe it was a federal grant that paid for the trailer. And so far, he's getting a very positive response about transferring that piece of equipment to Fort Montgomery for the purpose of the ATV. So if there are any questions after you read the full report, let me know and I'll relay them back to the chief. Also, starting this week, all 3 apparatus will start going off to Roscon for their annual maintenance. Engine 429 will be attending the Battalion 4 extrication drill on Saturday, July 30th in New Windsor. And that covers it. Thank you.
Can I just hand it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm Laura Milson, I live at 105 Center Street. Regarding the bombs that were exploded just the other night, a couple nights ago, my understanding is they were MD-80s, so they were bombs. They weren't just little, fireworks or whatever. And I had someone from West Point come up to me when I was at the farmer's market this past Sunday and tell me that the explosive force of an MD-80 is equivalent to a quarter stick of dynamite. And that they had had issues with that in the past, and that they had involved the ATF&E or ATF, whatever you want to call it, but now they've added explosives, but and or the DEA, because of the explosive power of those devices that are being set off. So it's just another avenue for us to explore if we're not able to, handle it in a proper, as far as I'm concerned, a proper manner. If they're still going off regularly every year for weeks on end, eventually someone's going to get hurt or killed. So if it is a quarter of a stick of dynamite that's being blown up on a public road, I think that we might wanna look at those other alternatives. And I just wanted to add that because you had brought up the explosive devices, so, thank you.
That kind of moves into our two discussion items, noise ordinance and curfew ordinance. You have the two pieces that we have in front of you. I did receive an email from one of our residents about the noise ordinance. And this is something that we're gonna work with our police to make sure that we're all on the same page. I know that this was brought up in the past about possibly having a decibel meter device. That's something that can be considered, but really, the ordinance for noise is basically, if it's not normal, then that's a problem. And bottom line, I think our residents are very, very accommodating. Particularly with 4th of July, particularly with some of the other festivals that we have. And there are, I believe, throughout the community, with some house parties and other block parties, I think that our residents have really been very lenient. Specifically about, because the ordinance allows for a standard shutdown. Come on in, Marvin. Standard shutdown, if it's deemed, too loud. And that's basically too loud, it's a term, it's an industry term. So for the people of the community, know that there is a noise ordinance in place. Your response will be to call the police station. And our goal now is to work with the police to make sure that these calls are handled in accordance with the noise ordinance. And that basically this goes to our biggest piece that we are working on with the police now, and that's community policing. Is so that when these calls come in, whether or not they are, oh my gosh, they're calling about dog poop again, what are we gonna do? It's accommodating, and that's what we need to do. We're here to protect and serve. And that means that if someone's calling, that we respond in an appropriate fashion. But there were some concerns, particularly with 4th of July. They're still going on. I know for a fact that the police are moving throughout, particularly the north end, because that's where I am. It's not easy to actually catch a lot of the stuff going on when it actually happens. But we do have, and we're going to discuss it tonight, we do have some possible solutions. Going along with that, let me just bring up the curfew, and that I only asked for the curfew in that we are going to, we are also going to work with our police on that as well, just to let people know, because it's not just about the noise, it is also about the fact that there have been a decent amount of break-ins on the south end. And summertime, that's what goes on. We've been having an issue with eggings, with break-ins, as well as the noise is still going on. Now, it's probably not 11-year-olds, but having the curfew in place and knowing that the community will work with the police department in helping us keep those that should be off the street at dusk off the street, it will help us then determine with the less people that are on the street who might be doing this. And again, as part of that and a part of the issues that we're having right now, we're hoping we have possible solutions that we're going to discuss later in the meeting. Any comments on curfew / noise ordinance? Let me get the board first. Anything?
I guess arbitrarily we'll have to determine what is a violation of the law as far as that goes.
Well, with noise, basically the violation is it's too loud, please tell them to turn it down. We could go with a decibel reading machine, but it's really not necessary because at 2 o'clock, the loudness can be the same decibel length But at 9 o'clock, when it's still legal, that same decibel length could be inappropriate. So really, the problem is we're not relying on the fact that we're adults. And it doesn't have to be a science. It's be an adult, it's too loud, please turn it down. That's it.
Discretion of the officer.
There is no, oh, well, I think I'll turn it down to 2. Well, if you turn it down and everyone's okay with it, then we're good, then we're moving on. We have to be a community, we have to start working together and stop, well, it's chapter 4.8 says that decibel level 7.2, and I think I read 7.0, so we're okay. No, these guys are trying to enjoy their day, it's upsetting them, just turn it down a little bit, keep it for your area. And there's been a lot of communities within our community that have allowed loud noise because they're like, oh, they're just having a good time. And it's been very, very, they've been very, very accommodating. Laura? Yes, that's how we get people not to talk. We say you have to stand up
That's not gonna
and get in
work
front of the camera.
Okay, so, my understanding of the noise ordinance is that the noise ordinance does not kick in at 10 o'clock at night. The noise ordinance is the noise ordinance
24/7.
24/7. So if someone is blasting you out of your home and your windows are rattling at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you still have the right to call the police and say, this is not cool. So, you don't have to wait till 10 o'clock at night when you're super pissed, excuse my French, but to address a situation. You can start calling at any time of day and say, it's too loud and it needs to be turned down. And then if it's not turned down, you can say, my windows are rattling now, and now it's, 3 hours later, and what are you doing about it? So it's not, to me, by the time 10 o'clock rolls around and my husband is working all night and trying to sleep during the day and also working during the day, 10 o'clock at night it's done. You know what I mean? He's not sleeping at all. So there has to be some reasonable rule for people being able to live in their homes with their windows shut and their air conditioning on, and they're still able to rest. Or be in their own yards and enjoy their own music and their own gardens without being blasted out of their homes. So I just want to make it clear that it's not 10 o'clock is the curfew,
Excellent.
but 10:30. But any time prior to that someone's being offensive to you, you can report it.
I think also there are exceptions for the noise, and permitted noisemakers like carnivals, according to the law. And there has to be some accommodation, because I think everyone's happy with 4th of July, and that's been okay. But other events that go to excessive decibel levels, to the point that people living around Grove Park, their pictures fall off of walls, that's exceeding what is probably necessary. And there may also be a misunderstanding with our police as to what a permitted noisemaker is. I think some of the bars in town that have the jukebox permit, the police are reluctant to ask them to lower the sound because it's a permitted use, and that too might need clarification.
Well, I think that if that's if you're reading that that's the case, I think that I really believe that we need to change that. Because I think that permitted or not permitted, it doesn't matter. Now, a carnival, different story, it's gonna be more difficult. Even 4th of July, it's not difficult to go up to the one person playing the music and go and could you take it down? You don't need to make sure we're reaching, I've heard that, I've heard thank yous from people down in Wyan Green that, it was good music you were playing, and I'm like, you were at the park? And they're like, no, we were at home, but we heard it. So you don't need to necessarily play it, especially if the people around. It's different if they're all at the park. It's different when it is during the day and they're going somewhere or they're here. But if they're not happy with it, as if you're trying to do something, whether it's 4th of July or any other day, again, basic community respect. even if you have a permit to have an event on your block, that doesn't give you the right to do whatever you want. That you should be able to, you still have to abide by basic community respect. And if the way you're reading it is the way, so that we don't have the authority to go and tell someone to turn it down, then that needs to be changed. Is that how you read it?
Well, in the exemptions, it
yeah,
says, sounds connected with sporting events of a school or connected to properly authorized and permitted carnival fair, exhibition, parade, or other similar programs.
See, I don't think there should be any, not that we're gonna shut down a carnival, but the officer should have the ability to go let them know, if you're able to turn it down, you need to turn it down, without the carnival going, I can do whatever I want, I have the
And the
permit.
carnival, I have a bias here, the carnival has a very tolerable sound level.
We're not talking about your carnival,
I know.
we're talking about carnivals in
Boy,
general.
it was loud.
All right.
I couldn't go to sleep, I was working midnight
But
tonight.
parties aren't
All I
public
hear is ding,
events.
ding, ding, ding.
Right.
Parties are not, that's in
Correct.
public events, so,
But
We
even
do give
or,
out permits for block parties though.
I think
but
we
that's
start,
not a public
Right.
event. Unless
Rather
they
than
invite
changing the
everybody
law,
in,
Well, it's permitted.
rather than change the law now, what we'll do is
but then it's.
ask make sure that it's clear between the board and the officers that they have the right to ask anyone to take the volume down. And if the officers aren't getting the cooperation from possibly those that may be under the exception, then we can look at changing the law. But I don't think someone's gonna throw the permit in their face and say, we can do whatever, in the officer's face. Maybe in someone else's, they may say, oh, no, we got a permit, we're okay. But when the officer comes and explains to them, you need to take it down. See, because what we don't want is the non-ability to make them take it down if they're upsetting the entire area. That's, doesn't matter who gave you permission to be there, it's our community.
Can I add some things? Oh, it's gonna be quick.
Let's hope so.
Mary Ellen and Olivia, you've already addressed some of the things that I was concerned about. However, we had the episode on the 3rd of July at 1:45 in the morning, where some of us can identify the people setting these things off. So I called the dispatcher, I put a message through to the police chief, I've heard from no one as to what's the penalty for this. This is the third
Did any
year.
officers respond?
Huh?
Did
Yeah,
any officers
no, I
respond?
called 9
Oh.
o'clock the next morning. The police were there, okay,
You
so my
have to see
neighbor
them
called.
doing it, that's the problem.
But why
Even
is
if
that
you can
when we know
identify
it?
it. Say that again?
Why is that? We
That's
see
just the
them.
laws,
Well,
No, but
If certain violations have to be witnessed by a police officer, crimes that are like crimes can be witnessed and deposed by a civilian.
so.
What about complaints?
But how about disturbing the peace? Is this not, what is that?
I mean, they have to investigate, and it sounds like they did.
Well, they did, and they
Just
finally
like
went to the
trespassing.
parents' house
If-
and knocked that. This is the 3rd year for these people. 3rd year that it goes on. It's a bit much, and we can watch them doing this. And then when the police come, so I'm also gonna recommend, as far as this whole noise thing, that maybe the cops need to be walking some of the beats, and perhaps they also maybe need to not have their air conditioner on and have their windows down, so when they're going by, they can hear what's going on. Because I know if you've got those things operational, you're not hearing the noise outside that we're hearing. Now, I will say, I didn't call the police the other night. They happened to be on Lake Street, somebody did call them. I and my neighbor across the street said, when is this gonna stop? It happened to be people in my neighborhood, that grill at midnight, have bright lights on, chit chat in the back, constantly. And the police, they were lovely, both police cars, policemen that came, and they went and they spoke. So that was a good thing, and that did seem to stop that. So that was kind of one of my things. Again, not getting a reply. No, but you covered a lot of it already. Not getting a reply, and so that was my big thing. And we have some new people in the neighborhood with young children. Well, I met one of them today. I apologize on behalf of the citizens of our village for what they've been subjected to since they lived here the 1st of July. Because they're right in that area. So anyway, that's my big thing. What do you do when you disturb the peace?
Call right away, that's all you can do.
Sorry. Well, I know, we need to maybe change that, and I thought the noise ordinance was 11 at night, my internet, I couldn't get it up, 11 to 8.
It
And if
is.
that's the case, 11
No.
is too late.
That's-
No, no,
that's-
there's
Two
no.
different
Noise
things.
ordinance 24/7. The
Okay,
11 to 8 is part of the ordinance, but it's not, that's like abusive.
okay.
Here inside a neighboring house,
Right.
you're not supposed to be able to hear if you're sitting inside your house at 11 o'clock trying to sleep.
Okay,
So
well,
that's-
which brings me to the next thing, when I did call on Saturday, because people had, obviously a permit. I guess they were having a big party. I don't mind people having a party, but I came home at 20 to 5 and I'm already hearing that, and my house is vibrating, and I'm like 3 houses away. And I'm kind of like, oh no, how many hours am I gonna have to listen to this? So at 5:15 I did call, the phone rang 15 times, and no one picked up the dispatcher phone. I put it down again, I called again, and after 4 rings, somebody picked it up, and I said, hey, you know, obviously there's some noise, I don't know what street it is exactly. And he said, hold on a minute, he said, oh no, they have a permit. A permit that does what? Allows the noise again
What day
into
was
my
this?
house? This was on Saturday, last Saturday. You know, and then so, you know, am I gonna complain that at 1 in the morning, I love you, brother, and you're walking down? No, I'm not gonna complain about that, they should just know better. But you know, as far as this thump, it kinda gets on your nerves and everything. So that was one of my things, what is the permit? And you're gonna have an event, what does it entitle you to?
Well, that's what we did just cover. It does not
Yeah.
entitle you
Yeah.
to, just because you have a permit does not entitle you to do whatever you want as far as loud and
So
everything.
whoever I spoke to said,
Right.
well, we'll
We have to
go
correct
tell
that.
them to turn it down. Okay, you you know, the curfew issue, I got the information from West Point, the social worker that wrote the document, and I said that to Kenny, because that's a big thing, the curfew issue, I think also. And, that's it. Maybe they should do, foot patrols, as I said. So, not so bad today, right?
It was very good. Here's the thing. Mary Ann, this isn't her first rodeo. Some people will consider Mary Ann Olivia a pain. I consider
My children
Mary
do.
Ann, I know they do. I consider Mary Ann Olivia a great citizen. And I look to people like Mary Ann because she's not afraid to stand up for the community. That's what she does. And I want that clear to people, because Mary Ann comes on a regular, along with Laura and a couple other people.
It's the perception people have of us. This is what I'm trying
Right,
to change.
and that's, and that has to be said, that they represent, I believe they do represent a majority of our community, and what they feel, and what they were looking for. And I appreciate you standing up for that. Okay, so anything else on noise or curfew? We are gonna follow up with the police on that to make sure we're all on the same page. And this all goes to what we're going to be, the biggest thing that this board's been working on for the last year. One of the biggest things that we're working on for the last year, and that's community policing. Community policing is the key to a lot of issues here in the village. It's just a fact. Jimmy?
I'll be quick too. I was talking with Mary Ellen earlier, Jim Dunlap, 30 Lake Street. We have a problem at our end of the street, on Lake Street, with kids roaming the streets. We got a call from my mom at 11 o'clock one night, Brett, you had
Yes, I did.
They're running the streets. We had a problem with them a few years ago. They were leaving garbage on my mom's front steps. They seemed to target her house for some reason. Threw eggs at the house, ice at the house during the winter. Coming up at 10 o'clock at night, banging on her door and running off the porch. And she's an older woman living by herself at the time. We're still having that at Mary Jane's house with eggs the other night. We sort of know where the kids are, but we don't have names. So maybe if we have someone that would be patrolling the area, keeping an eye out at night to see where these kids might be hanging out, and give them a general idea where.
And that's like after 11?
Usually at 10, 11, and after.
I know there's been a big increase of juveniles out since Pokemon came out.
So this is before Pokemon.
But, you know, it's not happening on Diora, right? It's not happening in Satterley too much.
Break-ins
or-
actually in that area, yes.
Maybe, but not the noise stuff, right?
Yeah.
There's,
It depends.
you know, some nights it's loud, Uh,
And I'm called with fireworks too. They were set up a brick of fireworks in front of the house the week before the 4th of July, at midnight. They're out.
10 days?
Yeah, and this is, why are they out in the streets at midnight?
Question?
So, we can work on that.
But now
I
they
agree.
take what they explode and they run with it to hide their evidence.
Yeah, I mean, we
Saw
had
that in action.
bottle rockets that actually hit the side of the house. We found the bottom in the driveway by the cars, where they hit the house during the night.
Oh yeah, I have a collection too, just so you guys can have it to see, but I forgot to bring it to you.
So it's not something new, it's been going on for a few years now.
So,
Okay, well,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
So is there a designated spot, late at night? How's Road Park, I mean, do you have any activities that can actually move the students to play basketball? Can you open up, a facility where they can actually be located? Like I know where, I'm in Houston, we have the same problem, right? So one of the programs that they did would do an 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, midnight basketball games. These kids are usually latchkey kids, parents are working 2 jobs, they're not home. So their children are bored, they need something to do, they're unsupervised. A lot of times when children are roaming the street at 11 times, their parents are usually working somewhere, right? So what we do in Houston is we created a midnight basketball or baseball or some type of athletic event, or you would actually hold community parties inside a building that would contain the noise and the kids would actually be able to come there. And then, like you said, they'd have community events, police officers could be there, they actually do, they give the kids information, things that they can do, give them educational things that they can actually do. You can have, with internet now, you can put up a flat screen TV, let them play games, cuts it off, it ends maybe at 12:30, and everybody walks home, the police can make sure they get home safely, they need curfew, you cut down the noise, and it's the cost of maybe opening up some lights at a vacant building that's vacant anyway. And you,
that would be a good use for the school if we can get that going.
yeah, so if they could,
It could be utilized at any of the school buildings.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be a vacant building. But then the problem becomes, and again, not to be the naysayer, because I'm the one who wants to see these things happen, is you let out at 12 o'clock and now you have 50 kids walking in 8 different directions for the next half hour or an hour, depending on how they sashay home. So that's a problem.
Well, then I got a suggestion, the dollar bus lane, $1. A parent will give you $2 to make my child ride home safely. You've got parents who are home, you got a majority of people here that would actually assist out, and you could use bus transportation, you could do the dollar bus, you could have somebody pay, you could have the police officers. I mean, my grandfather used to, as a cop, used to patrol. And as we walked a certain way, there's only certain ways you can walk in Highland Falls if you're a kid and you're bored and you're walking home. My grandfather would actually catch us down on Center Street, catch us down on Mont, make the patrol, ride around, and tell us to go home and go up the hill. We still laugh about it to this day, right? You have to have somebody who's in the neighborhood saying, go home. And they have to respect that police officer who says that, and that police officer has to ride around and stop off at different points. And it took him an extra hour to do it, but we all went home because we knew Sergeant Matthews was gonna run us home, right? And tell our parents. So if you have somebody who's gonna run them home and tell your parents, we'll all walk home. We'll walk home in a group, we're bored. I mean, this is like what we grew up when I was in Alpha, it was the same thing. But if you opened up a building, it would cut down your noise. It would allow them to stay out late. You'd have your parents to sign and get a parent permission so you don't get sued or anything like that. They get a release. Most parents are doing it because they're working. And you give them $2, $3, and they get a ride home. And you have a police car patrol around the area for about an extra hour. And that could probably cut down a lot of your problems, and it cuts down on, besides for running the lights. And then you could probably get people to volunteer, aunts and stuff that are around who would stay there. I mean, that's what we do. We get volunteers, we get some of the police officers to come in Houston, and you sit down. You at the rec with Aaron Falk, have some of the people who do that, whose kids, who like doing kids, who love kids anyway, who will sit there and monitor the kids while they're playing basketball or baseball. And then with technology, if you put a flat screen TV up and some video games, you got half of them, or at least 2 hours. So, this is a suggestion.
All righty. Moving on to, before we do, you're hanging out in the background, I can't even see. I'd like to bring up Mario Scalaro just for a minute. He has a program going on this weekend that he would like to promote.
Good evening, everybody. Everybody. Yes, this Saturday, we're gonna do a veterans benefit run, primarily for veterans and also police officers. Because we are all interconnected, different mothers, but we're all connected. We are gonna have live music, there will be a band, there will be right over here at parking lot number 2.
Watch it.
Lot 2. I have convinced the new garrison commander to come down, and we're gonna pay honor to the Patriot Guard troops. If anybody's familiar with them, you know that they do funeral escorts for fallen soldiers, service members, and also veterans. And they've done quite a few in this village. The last one they did was a couple weeks ago for a cadet from Long Island. The family called in the Patriot Guard, and I participated in it as well. And we brought them to his final resting place. So the garrison commander is going to acknowledge them, because the first time I called the bride captain, and I guess it wasn't clear in the email, he thought I was calling up for a funeral. And I called him back, he left his number. I called him back and said, no dude, we're having a party for you. And it's like, wow, no one's ever did anything for them in this fashion, to bestow an honor on them. And they're constantly doing it. It's a national organization all throughout the country. And it's a very big thing. And it's time that, I think we show them some honor and respect. What this whole purpose, when Pat asked me to do this, a short story if I may. I was on the Palisades Parkway just before Pat asked me to do this. And I'm coming up the parkway by Seven Lakes, and in one of the curves, there was an SUV broke down, right in the middle of the road. Didn't have enough time to even pull over. So fortunately, I had a yellow strobe light on a construction vehicle. I pulled up behind her. There was a woman with 2 babies in the car. I said, man, you can't stay here, gonna have to get you off the road. And I looked down, the transmission was being fluid all over the place. She's a training. So I convinced her to, start the car, and I towed her to where it was nice and safe, it was wide, cars could get by, no one's gonna get hurt. And as I walked back to her, I unhooked the rope that I tied to her. She noticed I had my Vietnam veteran sticker on there, and Special Forces. And she goes, you're a vet? I go, yeah, well, so am I. I just got out 2 months ago. But it's, now all of a sudden, it's just something. All of a sudden you click, okay? Because she was one of us, okay? The bad part about it was about the same time, Palisades policeman showed up. And he was quite adamant that I couldn't stay there. He had it. He was going to call the tow truck. So whatever assistance I was going to offer her, like to tow her down to the circle where she could call her family and whatever to come get her, she's stuck in that no single zone up there. Okay, so she couldn't call anybody. So I left. But it bothered me that I couldn't do more. Because again, it was one of us. Okay? And not too long later, he asked me, and I said, okay, fine. So the whole purpose of this event, number one, is to help the veterans that are in financial distress. Can't do anything about the VA, their medical, all the other problems that are associated once you get separated from the military and you're in civilian. But if we can find someone can't make a mortgage payment, a car payment, insurance payment, something, buy them food, because they are out there. Okay? The poverty level extends to the veterans as well, okay, not just ordinary citizens. So this is what this whole project was all about. So we got the Patriot Guard covered. The second story is we found someone that we're going to help this year. Turns out to be a 5-year-old. Her father passed away last year, along with Lamb, I believe his name was NYPD, and also with the military police up at Stewart Airport. So it was, I think 7 or 8 of them got hit on the ambush. Officer Lamb's been covered. His family doesn't have to worry about anything because he's with NYPD. He got his benefits from the Army, and the city took care of his family. He's covered. The other one, they live out in Long Island, and I'm having one of those sort of brain farts. I can't remember his name right now. At the funeral, right after the funeral, they were in the hole $12,000. So you can understand what his wife is going through and what their child is going through. So we're going to see what we can do to put a smile on this woman's face, to make her wish come true, and to let her know that she is not alone. And that's the other emphasis that I have on doing this, is to let all of the veterans know you're not alone. I remember getting out of the Army at Fort Dix and sitting on the curb and going, okay, what do I do now? There's a lot of anxiety and separation that goes with it. So this is to let everybody know we are family, we are brothers, and no one will be forgotten. And that's the purpose of this whole thing. So hopefully it continues as the years go by, that we can get more involved with the VFW, and now they have a home. My co-partner this year is the Combat Veterans Association. Last year I did it by myself, unfortunately got rained out. This year it looks to be like good weather. We have a good crew coming out, good turnout. So as far as the noise ordinance, it's gonna be a little loud for a little bit, when we leave and when we come back. But it's during the daylight hours, it's gonna be on Main Street, it's only gonna be for 5-10 minutes, whatever. We come back, yes, there's gonna be music. But we should be done by around 4 o'clock. The good part is that we're gonna push, we didn't get that many food vendors. So we're gonna push, and I've been talking to some of the merchants in town, that they supply food, they see the wristband, they're gonna get 10% off on their food, none of drinks, and go spend some money in town, take a walk, go get some ice cream, go visit the museum, go do something. We want you to come back to this village, okay? So it's not just for us. Hopefully it benefits some of the establishments here. They like it, you're gonna come back on the day off. But for sure, we'd like to have them back next year. That's my spiel.
I have a question.
Yes.
So it says 20 riders and $10 passengers. Are you, anybody who's riding singly, are they offering rides to passengers too?
I'm trying to get this, there's quite a few ladies that have asked that same question.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if my husband would.
Hey,
I'm game.
I'm not gonna touch you. I'm trying to get that going with a couple of the guys that I know that they're single or married, but if they have a seat and a helmet, okay, I'm putting it out there to them. So if there's anybody that would like to go for the ride, it's going to be a beautiful ride. 7 Lakes, 210 to River Lake, Lakes Road, Monroe, Washingtonville, Bales Gate, and up to the corner. It's 218 open?
Yes, I believe so.
If it's open, we are going to go down come down 218, and that is a beautiful scenic, overlook. And then we come in through the Washington Gate, through past Trophy Point. I'm going to have the Army Color Guard standing there, present the colors to us, and then I'll have the Marine Corps here. So the services are all in it. So it's patriotic, veterans, whatever. Thank you.
So there'll be an avenue for people to make donations that are
Yes.
not riding or.
Anything you want to give.
Okay. Great. So would you just send a check in or how do you do that?
If you make a check out, make it out to the combat vets.
Combat Vets Association?
Right. Or stop in, dance. I'll dance with him,
He will.
not you guys.
It's a deal.
I'll be there. So please, come on down, enjoy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming.
Have a nice night.
Pleasure meeting you.
Tail off that before we begin our new business. Mario mentioned the VFW, actually meant the American Legion, located on Old Mine W. We're actually working with the American Legion aggressively now to make that the home for all veterans organizations. It really is the only group, the only building right now in the entire town, including West Point, that you wouldn't believe that. You know, you'd think they have 5 or 6 on West Point, they don't. So we used to have the VFW at the ambulance corps, that is not happening anymore. So we're gonna ask the VFW for any of those belonging to the VFW, relocate, and this is actually after talking to the commander of the American Legion, to relocate to the American Legion, as well as the combat vets, as well as the Buffalo Soldiers, as well as wounded warriors, and make a home for all vets, and build this area up that is beautiful and is right on the river. It's a great location, a great building. But with that said, John Flynn has been working on that since Memorial Day, when he became the new post commander. And a lot of go, oh no, I'm in, I'll join, yes, and yet the applications are still not come in. So it's, you're talking $30 a year, but it's not like $300. But the bottom line is, I mean, they reduce it to nothing. It's a membership. They want the membership, active membership, not just your name on a roll. So we are reaching out to all veterans in the town, Fort Montgomery, Highland Falls, West Point, Bear Mountain. Outside, obviously, are welcome as well. But we're really looking for veterans that want to participate, want to be part of it, and do exactly what Mario's doing, because what we've asked for and what this board has been doing with a lot of different activities and things like that is finding a home for them. Mario, as he said, he did this by himself last year. This year he got his friend. He says the combat vets, but it's his friend. So it's 2 of them. It's not a huge group that's helping. Don't misinterpret it. I met him the other night at Southgate, and they're like, yeah, I am the combat vets. It's a large group, but he's the one that's helping Mario. There's no reason when you get 50 people together, now the work becomes a lot easier. Now you can get a lot more accomplished. And there are hundreds, not including West Point, which pretty much everyone is a vet. There are hundreds of vets in our community. We need to support them. We need to encourage them to get involved so that they can let us know what we can do to help them. So I want to thank Mario, I want to thank John for trying to put new energy and new life into the American Legion, and I hope as many vets as possible can join. Moving on to new business. We have a request for our Road Park for under varsity baseball and modified baseball from March 1st, 2017 to June 10th, 2017. You have the paperwork in front of you. Are there any questions? Do I have a motion? Is that a second?
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I have a request from Gary to surplus the sweeper. You have the paperwork in front of you. Are there any questions?
I'll make the motion to
Surplus and sweeper parts of the discussion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I have a request for the Freedom Ride to use Municipal Lot 2 this Saturday. You saw the paperwork downstairs, the insurance is also there.
I'll move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I have a request for extended leave from Village Hall staff. You have the paperwork in front of you. Are there any questions? Do I have a motion? I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I have a motion that needs approval for the leave of absence part-time officer Coleman. We had talked about it at the last meeting, but we need to make it official. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. You need to give me the approval to sign the Greenway grant contract.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion for bills and claims fiscal year 2016-17 in the amount of $57,851.96?
Move it.
I also would like to add one more thing to that, unless there needs to be discussion. and please let me know. I would like a motion to reappoint Gary Boyce as the superintendent of DPW for another year. His term is ending. Who knew? So fast. His term is ending. If you want discussion on it, we can not do it right now and go into executive it later, but I brought it up because I didn't think there would be any.
I have no problem.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Okay. I just have one or two things. Okay. Election season is upon us, and we have a few things. It is important that, again, communication happens as much as possible, because there's a lot of miscommunication going on in the community. I wanted to clear up a few things, and I hope that as many people hear this so they know what's going on. There was a Facebook post that the mayor, me, has something against our vets, because I charged vets $175 to park in the municipal parking lot, which is a free lot. There were some other interesting words that were used, some other people jumped in, a lot of people were, what a horrible person I am. And just to let everyone know, those vets that were in the parking lot were Corps vets. They had nothing to do with the Veterans Organization. I contacted the head of it specifically to make sure, because nothing in all the paperwork we got had anything to do with veterans. And he said, no, we are a Corps vet group, we have nothing to do with veterans. So I want to make sure that people know that no, we are not looking for veterans organizations to charge. In fact, and then the discussion went, well, we shouldn't be charging them anyway, even though each of them has a vehicle over $100,000. And I'll give you a quick thing. Basically, we got a call about a week and a half prior to. This group, a Corvette group from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, was coming up to tour West Point. They were planning on parking at Buffalo Soldiers Field. Because of security, they weren't allowed to. So they had called the village looking for somewhere to park. Now, they could have just parked. But they called and said, we have 23 Corvettes coming up plus other people. Is there somewhere where you can park? Now, we could have said, yeah, there's tons of parking, just put a quarter in the meter, it'll be fine. But we decided that it would be nicer if we offer them lot 2, and that way they can showcase their cars, it'd be something nice for the people. And more importantly, that would bring about 50 plus people to enjoy our businesses in Highland Falls. That was the goal. On top of that, because they are a club as they are, I asked if they would be willing to donate $175, which is nothing when you own those kind of vehicles. If they had balked on that, we had already talked about it with the clerks, because they're the ones in contact with the group. The important part is to get them into the village to support our businesses. They are guests here. We are the host community for West Point. That's the important part. $175 is nothing. But $175 of non-tax dollars from a group outside the community that's willing to put it there so that we can enhance our parking lot, I'll take it. And I'll take it every time. Who are we not charging? We're not charging Mario Scalaro, because that is a charity organization. It is a vet group, and I'm actually allowing it on lot 2. We have 2 more groups coming in. One, we had a call, and I mentioned this, I believe, at the last meeting. Tom Cowan, once again, a huge supporter of the village. He is the deputy garrison commander. He got the information that a motorcycle group is doing an autism run, and their primary run is going to be part of West Point, and they have asked, is there any way they can utilize Highland Falls as a tailgate? Yes! So we are going to accommodate them. That's going to be in September. And what have they already done? They've already contacted our local food establishments. 200 people will be now utilizing our local food establishments. This is what we're trying to do. We're working with the chamber to get these people in here. 1, to help our businesses, but 2, so they can enjoy our community. Even those charitable groups may have people in them that wouldn't mind throwing $1,000, $5,000. Wow, what a great host. wouldn't it be nice if you did that? Well, if I had another $5,000, I could. Here's $5,000. If we never open the door, no one's ever gonna come in. So, whether you're doing a fundraiser or not, I'm always open to taking money. And that was another funny thing on the post, that they were offering on the post that, you know, send me $5 and $10 and $25, I'll pay the vets back. And people were jumping in like, oh, I'll give you money. And I'm like, it's $175 and they're not vets. So I wanna make sure it's clear, it was a core vet club at Lot 2, nothing to do with veterans. Now, the next part of that was, why are we charging at all? You can't charge. It's a municipal lot. Well, the definition of municipal lot is yes, you actually can charge. You can have it for free, or you can. And again, farmer's market, we don't charge. It's a local group. Vision does a phenomenal job with several different activities throughout the year. They ask to use Lot 2, they get to use Lot 2. How much do we charge them? Nothing. If we have, I would like to, Barbara Minetti and a couple other people were talking about getting a 3-level parking garage in Lot 2, making park business in there, maybe a garden on top. Again, if we don't dream, it will never happen, but that could happen. And we'll never get there on tax dollars. We'll get there on donations, we'll get there on grant money, and we'll get there on other things. But I want more out-of-town groups to utilize our area. Right now, we're using the area for South Post. South Post has at least 3 years, if not 5, of construction going on. I have met with Jay Brisman from West Point Tours. We had talked about it at the board level, maybe we should go do a $10 day pass. I love the sound of that. But then when I realized, I'm like, maybe a little much. People over West Point Tours said, wow, yeah, that's never gonna happen. But if they fed the meter, it would be $1, $2. If they go to the tour and come back. Sitting down with Jay Brisman's people, the one thing I'd like to bring to the board is to offer day passes until something changes, a free day pass. For those that are parking in a certain section that we designate during the day for tours. And with that, talking to Jay Brisman's people, in exchange, they would put together, working with the chamber, like a flyer type of our businesses to, after your tour, come eat at here and here and here. While you're here, get something at the souvenir shop. While you're here, and this is something that we should have done a long time ago, because it doesn't cost any money. We should have been working with Jay anyway. But until it becomes a problem, if it becomes a problem and our parking gets inundated, we change our policy and we have to do what we have to do. But I personally would like to offer that to get the ball rolling on, because most of these people, I don't believe they utilize our Main Street. I think a lot of them turn to McDonald's, which is part of our Main Street, but that's a lot, if it's a big turn, or they get back on the bus, they get back in their car, and on the way home, they'll stop. I think if we work with Jay and we encourage these people to utilize our businesses more, that's another win. So that's the parking lot issue. We are going to, is anyone out there who wants a Lot 2 for a day? You can accommodate. The second one, there's another letter in last week's paper about creative accounting. A person came to the board last meeting and asked us about the fact that the police were not funded in the reserve fund. We explained to him that they were funded in the reserve fund, and the reason why you didn't see it was because the police are buying a new police vehicle this year. So the money that was in the reserve fund and the money that we were putting in the reserve fund was all taken out, because you can't spend it out of a reserve fund. You have to take it out and put it into an active fund that can be spent. So all the money was taken out, put into the fund this year so they can buy the vehicle now. So we actually funded the police, like everyone else, like the years before, $10,000 this year, along with the $35,000, and we're going for whatever the state bid was. There was some other questions about, are they doing this, are they doing that? Be careful, everyone keep a watch on this village board. I love that. I would like everyone to keep a watch on this village board. I think the village board is doing a great job. But on top of that, if you have these kind of questions, before you decide to put it in the paper, because it's misinformation, it's not correct. Not on our paper's part. This is a letter of the editor. It's not correct. Okay, things that are being said. We asked, come talk to the treasurer, he can clear it up for you. That was never done. Another letter went in. If anyone has any questions about whether it's accounting, whether it's programs, whether it's parking lots, 9 times out of 10, even if we're not there, the board, the clerks have a lot of the information. They may not be able to get it to you immediately, but this is why you call Monday through Friday. Call us on a Tuesday, there's a good chance we can get you an answer on Thursday. Just information, just letting you know, no, that's actually not it. Or we can get you to a board member that can answer the question thoroughly. Because the best thing out there is the proper information. And lastly, there are some posts on Facebook that are fun. This has to do with another thing that we're doing tonight. This was a long post about our police commission. We received a letter from the county saying that they don't recommend us doing a police commissioner. And we said, that's fine, no problem. Because we had started out with what is accepted by the county and the state, and that is a commission, a 3-person board, and that is what we moved forward with. We had also looked at, to streamline the effort, possibly creating a position of a commissioner, a single person, which is not part of the county or state's job listings at this point. So, we petitioned to the county looked at it and said, we're not really sure this is necessary. The board made the decision that this isn't something we need to really fight for, it's something we were looking to do, if we could streamline the process. So we dropped it. We have the commission in place. So again, if you have questions about what's going on, rather than post misinformation and get everybody riled up, and oh my God, what is going on? Ask. Ask the clerks, ask the board. We're here for you. People saying that, we're being meetings behind closed doors. Yes, we have meetings behind closed doors. They're called exec. We have to have them, it's the law. When we discuss contracts, when we discuss personnel, this cannot be discussed in public. It is against the law. That's how we get lawsuits, and we won't do that. So we have to have executive meetings. All meetings are properly posted. If you did not see the post, I'm sorry. As far as the commission, everything was properly posted. We did receive several applications for all positions. We will be hopefully finishing that up tonight, maybe, if we can get to it. Other than that, as soon as we have all that information, we will share it with the public. But again, until we finish, a lot of that is executive session because we're dealing with personnel. But just don't wait. Call us. And that is the fun stuff for election season. There'll be more stuff coming, I'm sure. Check your Facebook. Check your local paper. It's going to be a good time. Okay, I had mentioned, we talked about the parking lot, we talked about curfew. 2 big things. We talked about community policing. With everything going on in the country, I think that is going to be one of the big answers to our solution, is community policing. And that's why this board has been working with the police department, and we're going to push it even more, and that is getting the officers out and getting them known so that people know them by name, they know them by face. And it's not, us against them. It's not the cops against the people. It's the police there for them. And just as we had said, for those who remember Tony Pizza, just like your grandfather, it's get home. And maybe you were scared when you were 9 and he said that to you, but as an adult, you were actually happy. And you were happy because you knew that he meant well. And he was looking out for the community. That's what we have to get back to. We have to get back to where, even though they may not live here, I'll bring up Sergeant Lavelle as a perfect example of someone who lived here who was definitely a community member. Okay, and he was excellent at community policing. he knew people's names. He knew to say, get out of here, what are you doing? And we're working to get more of that happening in our police department. I believe that will help us out a lot. And the last thing on that is, hopefully what may help us out, been brought up several times, and that is community watch. That is one of the next steps I would like to see our police take a look at, to see if it's possible. More eyes on the street. I tell you, with the police that we had on the road, again, trying to catch the people that were shooting off fireworks, eggs, the whole nine, it's not easy. But if we can work with a community watch group that's more organized and more structured, that can help the police and assist them, more eyes on the street, we might be able to thwart the people that are, when they see we get a bright orange shirt or what, we're not there to hide, so we let them know, it's community watch, how you doing? You got extra eggs there? Great, because I'm hungry. It's prevention. It's not sneaking around corners and trying to catch someone. It's, we're here. We see what you're doing, don't do it. So that's another thing I'm going to ask the commission to look into, is the possibility of a community watch program.
So if a community watch person was walking on the street.
I have no idea. That's going to have to go to the commission. I know where you're going. Go ahead, though.
Oh, and I was gonna say, and you see them set the thing off that's illegal, it counts for nothing?
Oh, it must count for something, I would say.
I mean,
It's gotta count
yeah.
for something, what's the point?
Well, there can be reports, there could be other things like that, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
At the very least, it's going to the parents and saying, this is the third time. We have it written down. It's not like someone talked about it. Our eye is on your child. We're hoping that, but with parents, and that's the other part, they have to be the partner. It's not just the police. The police are not their parent. The police are not their guardian. It's just like within the schools. If the parents aren't working with the teachers, we're not going to get things done. Parents have to work with the police. We can get more things done.
So then at that point, the police would probably say, okay, this has been 3 times, now we need a pins.
Okay,
problem.
I'm not actually going to go into any specifics. I have no clue.
Yeah,
That's going to be on the police,
But
and
that's-
we
yeah.
will look to see what they come up with. Any other comments from the board? Go ahead.
Just with the record, a couple of things. We've had 2 baseball/softball clinics for children from 16 and under, and we've had good turnouts the last 2 Wednesdays, and we're doing it again for the rest of the summer. It starts at 6, ends at 7:30 at the Lily Field. The kids are having fun and they're learning more and more every time, so I think it'll be good for anyone 16 under. Anyone over 16 wants to come and give back what they learned 10 years ago, come and volunteer, because the more the merrier. Any adults, because the more people you have with instruction, the more groups you can break up. You can have the 6-year-olds over here and 8-year-olds over here, instead of 6 and 10-year-olds together, which is hard to deal with baseball. This Sunday, the 24th at 11, our senior league /15 and under team will be playing a doubleheader against a team from Throckneck at 11 a.m. and it should be a good time. I believe we're going to be selling refreshments there today, so but come out and watch. It's most of the kids that are in modified JV and a few guys that just graduated from Little League. It should be fun because it's a team that they've never seen before from the Bronx, so it's good. Intermingle with people we've never seen before. And the second movie night we're working on. The first one was pretty good. It was right before 4th of July, so a lot of people are on vacation. I think there was about 30, 35 people there. We're working on another one, looking about middle of August. Hopefully we'll get a cool night, not a 5-degree night. And that's it.
Bob?
Brian and I have an agreement technically with the Teamsters from the labor contract. I don't want to release the information on the contract yet, because it hasn't been ratified by the rank and file or you guys, so maybe in the executive session later on, we can kind of go over the details of the fact that you guys approve it, they approve it, we have a deal, and then the amounts will be released to the public, but right now, It sounded like a pretty good deal, and I think that everybody's happy with it, so I'm assuming it's gonna go through, but I see, who knows? They may not approve it then, and if they don't, then we're right back where we started from, but I'd like to go into executive session afterwards and discuss the terms, just to make sure we're on board with it, and pass that on to the town.
Don, I want to thank you guys. I know that negotiations are horrible. It's just not a great place to be, and it's not easy to do, and you guys,
He's got two of them.
I know. That's because he was the new guy, and he hates me. He hates me for it. I'm okay with it.
I've been married so long, I say yes, dear.
But thank you for the efforts. Brian, do you have anything?
No.
Charlie?
Well, just a quick notation that Barbara Minetti and I had met with Empire State Development about possible grants with Restore New York. It was gratifying that the representative at ESD seems very interested in the community and interested in helping. So I have asked him to please find out how we can overcome the median household income that kicks us out of the CFA grants as soon as we apply online. So far, he doesn't have the magic bullet, but I'm still keeping my fingers crossed. So that's it.
Charlie's really minimizing what her and Barbara have done. The $10 million grant that we went after, for those who saw the paper, that went to Middletown, a city, which is normal. Rarely, if ever, would go to someone our size, let alone any village or town. Cities are mainly the ones that the $10 million grants go to. But because they did the $10 million grant, because they made the effort, the meeting that Charlie's talking about took place, and it was a 2-hour meeting where the gentleman was wanted to hear everything he could about our community and how he can help us. And, well, you need to look at this grant, you need to look at this grant. These are steps in securing future grants, because it's, as Charlie mentioned, the magic bullet, that doesn't happen. You don't just apply for a $10 million grant and get it. It doesn't happen. Middletown probably applied for it for years, didn't get it, and finally got it. But the efforts being made by Charlie and Barbara and Kathy Keene and a couple others will now be bearing fruit, I believe, shortly, whether it's a smaller grant or a larger grant to come. And again, the work you're doing, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I would like to offer the Buffalo Soldiers Association of West Point, we would like to assist on grant writing, to also be helpful, because we have a full program, and we actually have people who have certain connections that we would like to collaborate. So we would like to join with you all and assist you on writing grants. Some of the programs we have would actually add you some extra.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can I get that on film? I don't mean to make you get up again, but I want a recorded version of that.
And I took down your phone number.
Yeah. Earlier you gave it, that was a horrible thing, because now that phone call's coming every day.
No, we need to do it. So I just wanted to offer the Buffalo Soldiers Association of West Point. We would like to offer our assistance on helping writing grants for the town and the village. Well, we have a lot of connections that we can probably assist with both that we're doing on the monument project and other things that we have. And so the more people you have writing grants, it kind of helps in the people and the networking. So we would definitely like to collaborate with you and help you with that.
I need a copy of that video. Laura?
All right. So this is actually a good thing, and I'm just gonna put a quick plug out there. Our local Humane Society, Four Paws Humane Society, they do so much for this community and our littlest members that can't speak for themselves. And they are having a yard sale this Sunday from 9 to 2 at Dr. Beeman's, which is 63 Old State Road. And if you can stop there, I mean, I got a Belique Christmas ornament for $1 the last time. So they have really great things there, and it's such a worthwhile cause. There's very few members, and it would just be great if everyone could pitch in and help them out, so. Thank you. Sunday, the 24th, yep. Sorry,
And the
9 to 2.
23rd, Saturday, that's a Freedom Ride, that's this Saturday. So don't put it on next year's calendar, it's within a few days, 5 days, be there. Any other comments, public comment? No?
The school, that's why I was late, it was at a school meeting. I'm sorry, Laura, right? They're looking at some options about that school that's closed. One of them is to sell it. These are just options, there's no decision. One of them is to lease it. One of them is to look to the county, to the state, and look like mental health services to come in from Orange County, probation, mental health, and things of that nature. It's going to be a while because the SED, Education Department, will be involved in it. There are rules about how do you sell it, how do you fix it up. So I believe it's August 4th, so look at the newspaper there. They're gonna want now people to give their input. This was a meeting where they were just getting some ideas among the board members only, but they are gonna open up to the public. It's gonna cost a great deal of money to reopen it. You've got a lot of issues to reopen that building.
Do they have to abate it? Is there like, you
No.
know, asbestos
No,
or?
it's mostly like the boilers or heating and the zones. The zones are very different.
Okay.
But it was a good meeting, so I believe it's August 4th. Check with your local paper, and they're looking for community members to come in and talk about what you would like to see that school.
Great, thank you. With that, I would like a motion to move an exec to discuss PBA and DPW contract negotiations. Oh, before we do that, I apologize. Before we go into exec, Jack, could you come up for a second? Last week, we had a meeting, come on up here. Last week, we had a meeting of the board, and we did select the chairman of the new commission. As I stated earlier, we're hopefully going to finish the process within the week. But I would like to thank Jack Quinn for coming on board as the chairman of our new police commission to help us with all our needs. That might actually say anything yet, because Jack actually said he wouldn't say anything because he wants to wait for the other commissioners and work with them and then move forward. But I do appreciate him coming tonight, and I wanted to just introduce you to everybody. All right, with that, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second, all in favor?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for coming tonight.
I'm just gonna pass